It all began on April 14, 2023, when two of the beloved Class 1 railroads, Kansas City Southern of the United States and Canadian Pacific of Canada, came forth and merged into a mega north to south transcontinental railroad, with CEO Keith Creel naming it Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railroad. With it being the first railroad to connect Canada, the United States, and Mexico, CPKC will go all out on celebrating this mega achievement by operating the one and only Canadian Pacific Empress number 2816. For the first time in over a decade, the beautiful and elegant steam locomotive would haul the final spike steam tour over rails that haven't seen something like this in years. In this video, we'll chase the mighty Empress, accompanied by the CP business train, from Zwolle, Louisiana, all the way south to Liberty, Texas. So sit back and enjoy as we cover the railroading event of a lifetime with CP 2816 in the land of the bells. Built by the Montreal Locomotive Works in December of 1930, 2816 was part of the second batch of Hudsons built for the Canadian Pacific. Classified as an H-1B class, it was first assigned to the premier passenger services between Winnipeg and Fort William, Ontario. When the semi-streamlined Hudsons came into the picture in 1937, 2816 was reassigned to secondary passenger service. It was then dubbed down on pulling commuter and freight trains in the late 1950s. With the onslaught of dieselization, however, 2816 was retired from active service on May 26, 1960. Thankfully, in 1963, the locomotive was blessed to be preserved by F. Nelson Blount, the founder of Steamtown, USA in Bells Falls, Vermont. She remained a part of the Steamtown collection for 35 years, even when they moved to Scranton, Pennsylvania. However, due to her outside exposure to the elements, 2816 looked like a shell of her former self. Until things started to change. In the late 1990s, Canadian Pacific's Railway's then president and CEO, Robert Ritchie, was looking for an ambassador locomotive for their upcoming steam program. 2816 was then bought and moved from her home in Pennsylvania all the way back to Vancouver, British Columbia, where she was completely rebuilt from the ground up. At the time, it was the most thorough-out rebuild undertaken on a steam locomotive since the end of steam. The engine would also be fitted with some new things, such as a diesel control unit, new ditch lights, and being converted into an oil burner. After 2 years and $2 million Canadian dollars later, on August 16, 2001, 2816 moved under her own power for the first time in 40 years. From that day onward, she would join the Canadian Pacific's historical fleet and used for special occasions across their network. She even done a few excursions in the United States, and rightfully gave her nickname title, the Empress. She even appeared in the 2011 IMAX film titled The Rocky Mountain Express, which showcases the Empress on a journey from Vancouver to Montreal, while explaining CP's history. Unfortunately, things would go south in 2012, when CEO of CP at the time, Fred Green, Robert Ritchie's successor, stepped down as president, and the late E. Hunter Harrison took over. Hunter Harrison showed no interest in running 2816 anymore. As a result, 2816 was moved to storage in Calgary for many years at their Ogden yard, thankfully out of the weather. However, on November 13, 2020, 2816 would be temporarily steamed up once again, as she was used for the filming of that year's holiday train video. When 2023 came around, it was announced from Keith Creel that 2816 would embark on a cross-country tour for the CPKC merger, from Calgary, Alberta to Mexico City, Mexico. After a rebuild and a few test runs later, on April 26, 2024, 2816 would depart from Calgary. Now fast forward to May 24th, the CP Hudson would be on display at Shreveport, and the next day, it would travel down the former KCS Beaumont Subdivision. As we waited for a few hours at the small town of Zwolle, we found out that 2816 unfortunately had PTC issues while in Converse. Once they had the issue resolved, 2816 came around the curve at track speed under the Zwolle pedestrian bridge. The southbound chase was on. Once we caught up to the train, we made a quick move to get it at the Vernon Lake Bridge, just south of Anacoco. The 2816, the CPSD70 ACU number 7013, along with the FP98 twins number 1401 and 1407, sure made for a beautiful sight as they raced over the bridge. At the small town of Singer, we stopped for a few minutes to observe 2816 up close while the crew was servicing her.
Going today.
Going good. How about you?
A little hot. Not gonna lie.
Don't blame you. With the rail fans and townsfolk witnessing history firsthand, 2816 made history by becoming the second steam locomotive to traverse the KCS Beaumont Sub, as well as making an appearance at the former KCS DeQuincy Depot in 19 years. With her amazing CP6 chime whistle blowing, the crew did a 10-mile-per-hour slow order before continuing on westbound to Beaumont, Texas. On the Union Pacific Houston Subdivision, we set up at the former Southern Pacific Liberty Depot as our last spot on the Southbound chase. Just outside of Liberty, Texas, 2816 was put in the siding to let the Amtrak Sunset Limited pass by. With a trio of P-42s number 168, 824, and 194 on the head end, the Sunset Limited wasted no time as they headed for their next stop in Houston. Now, with the Sunset Limited out of the way, 2816 got the all-clear ahead to proceed to Houston. They wouldn't make it until nightfall for their overnight stop in Kendleton, but as she picked up speed through town, the engineer unexpectedly blew both of her whistles while passing by the cameras.